A lot of new griddle owners out there, congratulations. We thought we'd kick off the season with a big old breakfast on the Blackstone. We're gonna show you all the way through how long it actually takes as a beginner to make a ton of breakfast. Let's go. We thought we'd do a video that's a little bit different. We have hundreds of videos in the playlist. Definitely a lot of breakfast, definitely a lot of whatever you wanna call it. Today's idea is a little bit different. We thought about what's it like to get your first griddle and going through the process of like in the mindset, right? So we're gonna do a big breakfast. We've done several big breakfasts in the past. Today we're gonna start a timer, give you guys a real true idea how long it takes us to cook. I'll do some things that kind of slows it down. That way you can, I would say that probably my experience is probably a little bit more advanced than most. And I'm sure there's people out there that's more advanced than me. But for a beginner on the griddle, your first couple thoughts are, how do I do this? How do I do that? What about this? What about that? We got you covered. So today is all about a big breakfast on the Blackstone. And to get started, if you guys are not familiar, we launched our first e-cookbook, which is a cookbook on our website, theflattopking.com. It's a digital copy. You'll be responsible for printing it out. But I show that because you flip to breakfast, and what do you know? Our most highly rated recipe is our homemade pancakes. We're going to be doing that to start off the cook. Really quickly on the idea, I have all of our dry and wet ingredients, mise en place, ready to go for the pancakes. Potatoes of choice, we went through the gauntlet. We've got fresh potato, we've got previously baked potatoes. They were out of our shredded potatoes. We swear by the Simply potatoes. They have a shredded kind, and we use those for hash browns all the time. We actually prefer those, one for ease. If anything I can say is per ease. You literally just open the bag and you're good to go. And then, of course, your breakfast meat of choice, we just have bacon and sausage. And we'll show you about 3 different types of ways to do eggs. And since I'm being greedy today, and it's kind of like my breakfast as well, I'm gonna throw some jalapenos and onions down for my hash browns. And the winner of our big grand prize is, I know I'll mess up the name, excuse me, Erica Machon, M-A-C-H-E-N. You commented on the best ever Blackstone steak fajitas. I'm sending this the link to my husband right now. It looks fabulous. Thanks for sharing. So congratulations to you. We put the names in like a, what do you call it? A random generator spreadsheet, and it spit out a name, and there you go. So we will be getting a hold of you, and we'll pack everything together and send it to you, and maybe you can surprise your husband with it. Thanks for the follows, thanks for the likes, thanks for the comments, thanks for all that you do. Congratulations, Erica. Simply enough, the time starts now. In fairness, the griddle is warming up. Just how it is. So when you're talking about breakfast, you're talking about brand new to the stuff. The first thing I can tell you is there's no shame in your game. Do it however you want to. Obviously, meats cook a little bit longer. Don't be afraid to use your oven, okay? Use your oven will save you long. Just put it on warm. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to think about every single thing on the griddle being done at the same time. To be honest with you, in the restaurant business, everything's not done at the same time. We have different stations. We have different things that are pre-cooked. A lot of times your meats are already somewhat cooked and we can warm them back up, yada yada. So don't feel bad that not everything is cooked at the same time. The biggest thing is have your stuff ready to go, and you know for a fact that typically your French toast, your pancakes, and your eggs are typically served better hot, so you don't want to do those at the end. As you can imagine, another good reason for starting your meat off early, especially bacon. A lot of people reserve the bacon grease to cook hash browns and or vegetables for your omelets. So that is a good thing for you as well. Depends on your skill level. That's why we mentioned different potatoes. We prefer a fresh hash brown. We prefer the potato to be fresh, not pre-cooked or anything like that. We tried it. We're going to shred this or grate this right into the water, let it soak, drain it, it's going to be ready to go. Another fan favorite is to pre-cook like leftover bacon potatoes. We can show you those. So many different ways. And you don't even have to shred them. If you want them cubed, cube them. Get your breakfast. We have a temp griddle guide. It just kind of gives you a ballpark idea of what temperatures you should be shooting at. So, especially if you're new to griddling, some griddles you may have to alternate the burners. Some griddles you may have to crank on a medium. Some you can keep on a low. There's tons of models out there, so there's not one right or wrong way. You're just trying to hit your temperature zones. As in most griddles, you're going to learn that you're going to have hot and cold spots. It's probably typically known that on a Blackstone, your edge is going to be a little bit cooler. You can see here that the bacon's not cooking as much as it would be in the center. Not all griddles are the same, as we mentioned earlier, so keep an eye on that. You can always rotate your stuff. It's just a learning process, but the more you cook on it, the more you're going to learn on it, and just have fun with it. Don't stress at all. Our potatoes are dried out in a tea towel just to get those dry as possible. As I mentioned earlier, these are basically just baked potatoes that were left over from the night before, and you can do the same thing. Just grate those, and you got yourself some grated potato. Personally, I don't like this method. I'd much rather cut them up in cubes after they've been baked. Some people swear by it. That's what makes the world go round. We're just going to move the bacon over because we want to save that bacon grease. And we're going to turn up the griddle for a little hotter temperature so we can start cooking those hash browns. Simply enough, after these potatoes were rinsed clear in the bowl from starch, I just like to dry them off really well. Use a tea towel. You can use a strainer. You can do these way before you even start the griddle. Just make sure that they're in the refrigerator if you prep them beforehand. Just like that, perfectly dried potatoes. Dehydrated is very popular. This is ghee, which just goes to show you there's more than one way to cook your hash browns. Whether you use bacon grease, ghee. Careful with butter because butter has a tendency to burn, especially when you're cooking hash browns at a little higher temp. A lot of people can just use, they'll use a vegetable oil or something like that. We like to at least use an animal fat, but that is completely up to you. We've had success with avocado oil as well. As I mentioned, I'm an onion fan in my hash browns. You can tell which portion I'm getting from the durls. And I am a jalapeno fan. So that goes in mine. It's been almost 20 minutes. A little bit tad over. Give you an update. All the meat's off the griddle. The hash browns are doing perfect on one side. We're about to start the pancakes, and after the pancakes, it's just the eggs. Seasoned potatoes to your liking. Salt, pepper, garlic, and butter is our favorite. First things first, let's do the dry. Flour, baking soda, salt, and baking powder, sugar, 1 cup of milk, 2 eggs. I like to beat those in the milk first. Vanilla, apple cider vinegar, oil. Mix your wet into your dry. You just want to be careful not to overmix. The vinegar and the soda will have a reaction. This is how it's going to make it fluffy. The secret ingredient, the sour cream, we're going to fold that in. Look at all those bubbles and air pockets starting to form. Just like your first side, I always preach, if you always put oil down for something on your first side, make sure you put it down for your second side. nice, crispy, fresh hash browns. Clean up that side of the griddle because you don't want your pancakes to be like engulfed in all that bacon and sausage grease. Butter or oil will work. You want your griddle about 375. 400 is okay. We found that the little bit higher temperature, like 375 versus like 325 or 350, really helps the pancakes poof. And that's what we're looking for. One thing, if you notice, I've just moved those hash browns off to the side. I've actually cut the burner on this side. You're gonna learn that as you go. And the reason is because I'd much rather have a crispier style hash brown on the griddle than to have like overcooked meat, right? So if you put bacon or sausage on this side of the griddle, you turn it off, there's still some residual heat left over from your other burners. And you're just gonna end up like overcooking your meat. It's really hard to overcook a hash brown. I moved them over there specifically a hair underdone because I knew there'd be a lot of residual heat. All those are things that you're going to learn when you learn to use your griddle. If you're not sure, just take a sneak peek. We are looking good. This is a refurbished Blackstone griddle, so you don't have to have the best of the best, the most fancy things in the world to create fantastic food. Our pancakes are finishing up. I'm gonna show you eggs 3 ways. First up, just a quick scramble. Little pinch of pepper, little pinch of salt. One quick tip, if you're using real butter and you don't have an infrared thermometer or not used to griddle cooking, if your butter like bubbles really fast and it starts to darken and burn on your griddle's too hot. You're gonna have to calm it down. So cook off the heat, or you can add maybe just a splash of water, something, but butter is a really good telltale sign. You don't have to pour all your eggs down at once. You can kind of create like an egg dam is what we call it. Some people prefer absolutely 100% level griddles. I actually don't. I like mine to run towards the grease trap, and even more, mine runs to the right side because I'm able to pull up some oil. And just want to cook the eggs to your liking. Working on my over medium. Salt and pepper on those. And last but not least, an omelet. It takes practice for an omelet. We have tons of videos that are separated out, anywhere from like how to make hash browns, how to make omelets, you name it, we got it. I prefer a 3-egg omelet. Only reason is because I feel like it's so much easier to fold on the griddle. 2 eggs sometimes gets a little thin and it's hard to really get the nooks and crannies and fold it the right way. We'll be able to show you that. If you notice, each time I'm putting eggs down, I'm definitely adding more butter or oil, something like that. You're always going to need it. It's that layer protection. Since my griddle's running downhill, I'm gonna use that to my advantage. I'm gonna go widthwise. That's gonna make a rectangle. It's gonna make it a lot easier to fold. Typically working with the length of the spatula, so that kind of gives you a ballpark. There's extra room here so we can fold in the sides. Perfect omelet coming up. A little cheese for my daughter. Go and cut your griddle. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way through. It will cook on the griddle. Fold your edges. There we go. Nice little griddle omelet. 51 minutes. In fairness, I think it should have been more about 45 minutes. The reason is we had to do a TikTok video in the middle of the video, and so that's just being upfront and honest. As you can see with thumbnails and the really behind the scenes, we put everything back on the griddle for the thumbnail, so that took a little time as well. But we're talking about hash browns from scratch. We're talking about pancakes from scratch. We're talking about 2 different types of meats. We're talking about 3 different eggs, so everything takes a little time. Just recap, don't be afraid to use your oven, right? Once you make your pancakes, if you're worried, don't stress. Get that oven on low, make your pancakes, get the griddle cleaned up, put them in there on warm, you're good to go. Same thing with the meat. Hash browns are good to go on the griddle. Really, there's really no reason. Just turn a burner off, and I think you should be good to go. Eggs 100 different ways, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a true timed video about how long it takes to cook a breakfast on a griddle.
A big breakfast.
Big breakfast. This is basically the portion of one. And with that being said, this video is coming to an end. Find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook. There's a join button down below. It's a membership program. We thank each and every one of you for taking time for doing so. Last but not least, thanks for watching. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, pound the notification button, share it with your friends. Peace. If you guys are new griddle owners, reach out. We try to answer as many comments as we can. Just hit it up, and hopefully we can help you out. We can point you in the right direction. Whatever you guys need, we're here.
Welcome to the griddle family.
That's right.
You're gonna love it.
I'm hungry.
Yep.
I got my hash browns double stacked.
Yep.
Look
Time
at
to
this.
eat. Let's go.